Welcome to the heart of Qingdao in China, to the 2008 Olympic sailing venue, where we reach day 3 of Act 3 of the Extreme Sailing Series. 8 world-class sailing teams are racing here, and it's tight at the top of the fleet. Alingi, winners of last month's Act 2 in Singapore, lead the regatta here, but after yesterday's racing, have been under increasing pressure from the 2012 champions, the Wave Muscat. Once again, we have some of the best sailors in the world to compete here in the fleet. There are 20 Olympians, some who competed here in 2008. Sailors with 25 America's Cups behind them and 28 world titles. Here's how the teams line up.
The 2013 Extreme Sailing Series lineup is strong, with new teams and crew transfers in the off-season. There's every prospect of new faces delivering podium places come the end of the season. And this is the lineup. Team Korea are first-timers on the tour. They've got a combination of young London 2012 silver medalists, Peter Burling and Blair Tuke, plus established crew from the Extreme 40 circuit. It's a big call, but pre-season some are saying this unit has the potential to take the title in their first year. Swiss entry Real Team joins the fleet for the first time. A crew of champions from the world of D35 multi-hulls, excelling on the Swiss lakes. But just how will they handle the intensity of this new domain? Also from Switzerland, Alingi, the first ever European winners of the America's Cup, joined this circuit last year. They showed pace, won races, but as most first-timers competing, it was lack of front-of-the-fleet consistency that prevented them battling for a podium place overall. Rebel Sailing are the third unit from a landlocked European nation. The double Olympic gold medal winning duo from Austria, Roman Hagara and Hans-Peter Steinacker, were looking good for a podium place last year, but fate dealt them a cruel blow. They slipped to 4th in the final minutes of the last race. Few would be surprised if they put things right this time. GAC Pindar are back on the tour for their 3rd season, but it's been all change on board. The investment's gone into young Kiwi talent wielding impressive CVs. Their skipper, William Tiller, ranked 5th best match racer in the world. SAP Extreme Sailing is the only team with co-skippers, Denmark's Jes Graham Hansen and Rasmus Kostner. Last year, well, that was a learning experience, but they learnt fast. This year, expect to see them deliver. The defending champions, they're back. Lee McMillan's Wave Muscat dominated last year. For 2013, the Omani team compete with a new crew member, Musab Al-Hadi. Expect them to be fighting at the front, but unlikely perhaps to have it all their own way this season. Here in Qingdao is China team. Skipper Mitch Booth is co-creator of the class. He's also a double Olympic medalist. He's got an all-Chinese crew. They combine experience in the Olympic classes and the America's Cup World Series. No other team will have local knowledge like theirs.
Well, that's how the form book looked coming into this event, but here in China there's already been some small upsets. Here's the scoreboard going into today. Alingi leading on 102 points, the Wave Muscat 99, GAC Pindar up in 3rd, SEP Extreme Sailing Team in 4th on 82, Red Bull Sailing Team on 80, Real Team from Switzerland on 79, China team on 76 and Team Korea on 73. So really not much between Team Korea and GAC Pindar. Then looking at the general trend through the regatta, the most obvious thing has been Alingi leading all the way through. The Wave Muscat have had some ups and downs, but in the first half of the regatta are now pushing hard in second. GAC Pindar were good at the start, dipped in the middle, and were strong late yesterday when they won the final race. SAP Extreme started well. They have had 2 penalties and lie 4th overall. Red Bull have improved after a modest start over the start line yesterday, now lying 5th. Switzerland's Real Team have been second early on the regatta and have dropped to 6th today. China team with a young Chinese crew have won 2 races and lie 7th. And then Team Korea were very good on day 1 on the open water, have had some bad scores yesterday and lie 8th. So we're moving into the start sequence. I'm joined by Steve Ansell. Steve, a long wait today with fog, but things have cleared and we're going to roll into a race.
Yes, we've all been waiting for this moment all day, really. The fog really came in early in the morning, and it's been foggy right throughout the day since. The sun suddenly came out at about 4 o'clock this afternoon. We've got rid of a couple of ships in the harbour and we're ready to race.
A long wait for everyone today. I mean, what's it going to be like, or what's it been like for the sailors around the dock here at this Extreme Sailing Series regatta in Qingdao?
Well, some of them have been doing their media jobs, of course, filling in and speaking to the journalists, and many Chinese journalists here for the Extreme Sailing Series. But a few of them just tinkering the boats, a little bit of tuning, a little bit of making sure the bottom's nice and clean so that they're super fast for these conditions here. And it is all about boat speed, isn't it, here? The real light weather. If you can come off the blocks quick, get round those marks quickly, you can be miles ahead of your competitors.
That's right. The big duel at the moment is between Alingi, the series leaders here, and the overall champions, the Wave Muscat. Now, you were speaking with Lee McMillan and Will Howden during the day. How are they feeling?
A good question, yes, and we were working with them about how the dynamics of racing 2 on a Tornado here in 2008, where in fact they won the medal race for the Olympics, but only managed the 6th overall, not a medal for them. And they said that, well, actually working with more people, because there's lots more talk going on, and basically that dynamic was very different. But it was very good for them to be working together again. Will Howden, the crew for Lee McMillan in the Olympics when they were here in 2008. So yeah, they're looking forward to it, and they've been working very much on their jibing skills, and it is quite an involved team effort.
So a very simple course here today just to get racing underway. We go from the start line up to this green mark, a short beat, downwind back through the white gates, leeward gate, back up round the mark number 3, and then straight through our finish line right in front of the VIP tents and the grandstand, Steve.
Yep, standard Olympic course, up and down, or sausage, no sausage in it, just straight up and down, and very simple racing. They've set the start line much farther towards the mainland, if you like, where we are on the harbour, so on this shot you can see that they're much nearer these big skyscrapers into the sunshine and the fog. Still banked just over to the left of your shot, and counting down towards the start.
So around about 20 seconds, less than 20 seconds to start, we think. Breeze is very light down there, just finally jostling for position as they come in. There seems to be 4 boats coming in from the left-hand side of the start line on port.
Ooh, a brave start then for Red Bull.
Yeah, good start for Red Bull and Alingi. Now the Wave Muscat are trying to come in on port, and a little bit of a raft up on that side of the track. But it is Red Bull and Alingi who've got away best. Obviously these 4 on the left side, Steve, I think feeling that there's more pressure, more wind on this side, and if they can get clear, if the line can get over here reasonably quickly. But at the moment the upper hand is very much with Red Bull, with Roman Hagara, who leads with Alingi just behind them, then Mitch Booth on China team probably lying in 3rd at the moment.
Yes, a classic split, wasn't it? 4 boats one side, 4 boats the other, and the decision looks like being that the boats on the right-hand side of the course, as you look up it, had the best of the start. They were also on starboard, so they had right of way. And as you say, Roman Hagara and Alinghi got a cracking start here, followed by China team, Mitch Booth, in that third spot at the moment. The others deciding to carry on, pushing on their port tack to the right-hand side of the course, not looking good. Looks like Lee McMillan has tacked.
In particular, I think not a good start at all from the Wave Muscat, which really did get stuck on that pin end on the left-hand end of the start line on port tack. And they're just only now starting to accelerate, really. Meantime, coming out to the right, looking upwind, we have GAC Pindar, Will Tiller, and the young Kiwi team. Got themselves up into third spot, and they're doing reasonably well. It's a strategic decision, obviously, to come out this side where they feel there's probably a little bit more breeze. It's a little bit of fine line, though, as they will have to come along the breakwater towards this first mark, the green mark.
Yes, tacking in union, and here they are, slowly turning around onto starboard tack in the misty part of the racecourse here. And very, very gentle movements on the boat, the crew just balancing on the leeward hull to keep the weight forward, keep the boat pushing along. There's
so maximum concentration then for the leading boat at the moment is Roman Hagara and the team on Red Bull. Just got slightly less pressure than Mitch Booth and China team. China team managing to get a little bit of a lift just to leeward of Alinghi.
Yeah, it's a big wind shift there, wasn't there, on that side of the course, and it paid for Mitch Booth, didn't it, in the middle. He's got some nice pressure there.
The breeze is going to lighten slightly as they come up towards this first mark. I wonder whether China team right in front of the grandstands now can give the home supporters a big something to cheer for. Nice acceleration just now from China team, just getting it inside, and will have the opportunity to tack come across on starboard in the next few seconds. Meantime, Roman Hagara and Red Bull doing nicely on the left, and not going to make the mark, I don't think, just now. May have to put in just a little tack, but if they get a little bit of a more of a lift, may just be able to shoot round, but not quite.
Mitch Booth coming in with rights on starboard tack, but as you say, Red Bull has tacked in front of them, but they've sailed into quite a soft patch. Meanwhile, Alinghi has tacked over by the far side onto port. Will they speed up enough time to get round that mark?
Some good work meantime by Team Korea, who are lying fourth just now. They need some good scores today. And indeed, double Olympic gold medalists Roman Hagara on Red Bull coming round in first. Alinghi just trying to get inside the China team. They're just going to make it. They just need to get the Jenniker drawing, and that should give them a little bit of extra acceleration. Nice work then from Morgan Larson and the team on Alinghi, the overall series leaders, winners in Singapore last month. And in terms of putting points on the Wave Muscat, then they're doing a good job there in second. China team get round in third, Team Korea in fourth.
Yeah, GAC Pindar coming up to the mark, sailing on port, and behind them, Lee McMillan, the Wave Muscat. A little bit of an early set on their Jenica. In fact, it's been rolled back up again. Mitch Booth in a nice position here to perhaps get a bit more of the wind as they are trying to overhaul Alinghi.
Just starting to affect Alinghi a little bit, I think. But, all going to be down to who gets the extra pressure coming down this run. It is quite patchy, and also where you choose to make the jibe, and Alinghi just choosing to go now and stay inside, get to the wind pressure first.
Lingi's luffing Mitch Booth on the China team.
That will be to the advantage of Red Bull, this slowing manoeuvre from Alinghi, just trying to hold off China team's advances. Meantime, Red Bull managed to keep the bow down, pointing more directly towards the leeward gate. Red Bull have had a slightly disappointing regatta. They are the most consistent team so far this season, with 2 second places, second in Muscat and second in Singapore last month. A real tussle going on between China team and Alinghi. China team just managing to roll over the top of these series leaders. And Morgan Larson decides that they need to get out of there, make their jibe. We'll have a nice angle in towards this leeward gate now for Alinghi. They just need a little bit of wind pressure. They can accelerate now. That would give them a nice chance of catching Red Bull, Steve.
Yes, good chance here. So the wind's still quite light and fluky. China team have decided to go way out to the right-hand side of the course as you look up it.
And Team Korea have just come from 4th up to 3rd, crossing in front of Alinghi. These little tussle between the Alinghi and China team to the advantage of Team Korea. And meantime, GAC Pindar making a nice charge down the right side of the course, looking downwind. They've got a nice angle, picked up a little shift.
And have crossed in front of Alinghi. And now coming together are the 2 teams at the very top of the table. Alinghi coming in on starboard tack.
Indeed, the Wave Muscat just I think might just get across in front there.
Expensive then that little match racing going on there between Alinghi and the China team, because they've lost a huge amount here.
Indeed, it's just been a little wind shift as well. We see the angle that Alinghi went across on, and the angle that the Wave Muscat managed to sail downwind, same as Team Korea. But pretty steady for Red Bull just now. They've a nice, comfortable lead, keeping well out of trouble. GAC Pindar round with the Wave Muscat on the left-hand mark. On the right-hand mark, it's Team Korea and Team China.
So a bit of a split then in the fleet. As I say, Roman Hara now really looking very good in this clear wind, just going into attack. But Alinghi, what a disastrous second leg for them.
It has been really, yes, but they've got some nice speed coming into the leeward gate. And if they can make a good rounding, come up this right side, at the moment the pressure is quite light on that left. On board with the SAP Extreme just now. They had a good regatta in Singapore, been a little bit more modest here, not quite managing the same level of consistency. A little bit of a slow rounding for them. And it is Red Bull, Roman Hagara and Hans-Peter Steinacker showing the way in this first race today on the penultimate day of the Extreme Sailing Series Act 3 here in Qingdao.
Good move by GAC Pindar though. On that downwind leg, they really found the pressure on the left-hand side of the course as you go down, and moved themselves up into a rather nice position here. However, also looking at a good position now as well as Team Korea have come from behind and coming across here on starboard tack with rights of way. Red Bull tacking across towards that left-hand side of the course. Red Bull in the lead of this race at the moment, but it's quite light on that side. They don't have too much pressure, heading towards the green mark for the second time.
So they're a close cross in the middle of the course between Alinghi and the Wave. The Wave just ran out of wind coming out of their tack. Meantime, Alinghi get across in front, so Nothing very much in it between the two of them. And Olingi make their attack just now. Nice smooth transition on board with them. Team Korea going nicely as well, just staying slightly to the right in front of the VIP grandstand, only a matter of meters off the pontoon. But it is Red Bull that look odds on to finish this race in the lead. Coming round the green mark for the final time.
Keeping that boat speed on as they're heading towards the finish line, right in front of the VIP area. But Team Korea in second place, GAC Qingdao in third. But Olingi staying in front of second place overall at Qingdao. Lee McMillan, the Wave Muscat. But Red Bull just coming down to the finish of this quite light weathered race towards the end of the day.
Once again, very, very close between the two main protagonists at the top of the table. That's Olingi just covering the Wave Muscat for all they're worth. Meantime, China team coming across at the final mark, just crossing in front of Olingi. Very, very busy at that final turn. SEP just forced to tuck behind the Wave, as indeed Red Bull take victory in this race. Team Korea then were lying in 8th going into this race overall, so they should improve hopefully a little bit. Team Korea then coming across in 2nd. GAC Qingdao lying 3rd overall coming into this race and are going to cross this finish line in 3rd. And then a good result then for the China team. Mitch Booth in a role as a skipper and coach. And this is the first act for the China team, who came straight from the America's Cup World Series to race their first regatta, getting across in 4th place. And Olingi will get 5th.
Looks like Real Team has managed to get a place ahead of Lee McMillan at that top mark.
Yes, indeed, Switzerland's Real Team new this year to the circuit, getting across the line now with Lee McMillan and the team on the Wave Muscat in 7th, and SAP Extreme will get 8th. So difficult race. I wonder whether that long delay really worked into the heads of some of the teams there. The start was a little bit scrappy, particularly the 4 boats who tried to start on port tack. And in particular, the Wave Muscat, Steve.
Yes, absolutely. Yesterday, I thought the timed races, some of the starts were great for the reach starts, but that classic windward start wasn't very good on some of those guys trying to start on port tack. So, yeah, there'll be a few words, I'm sure, from the coach and from Lee on board that, because that wasn't a terribly good result. And Olingi managed to come back from that dreadful second leg downwind to a pretty good result, really.
Indeed, I mean, it does seem to have been one of the features of Olingi through this regatta so far, is that when they've found themselves deep early in a race, they've managed to climb back through the fleet, and for me that's a hallmark of a potential champion. So difficult race. We're going to roll into another race. Conditions very, very similar, no immediate change. Breeze is pretty light still, probably 5 to 6 knots. The very most, a little bit A little bit patchy in places. So the standings after race 14 then, Alinghi extend their lead to 5 points over the Wave Muscat with that result. GAC Pindar in third, 3 points ahead of the Red Bull sailing team. Nice work then, that win for Red Bull, bringing them up to fourth. SAP Extreme Sailing Team 85, 5 points behind Red Bull. Real Team on 84, China Team on 83 and Team Korea on 82. So only 3 points between 5th and 8th, all to play for, but Alinghi extending nicely at the top of the table. So how does the Extreme Sailing Series work? Here's a quick insight.
All teams race identical 40-foot-long multi-hulls. They're fast, and closing speeds can be in excess of 100 kilometres an hour. With racing taking place on compact stadium courses, incidents can and do happen. Trying to get now behind Team Extreme, they've hit them! The boats are also extremely overpowered, so when the wind blows hard, they can capsize. This is the Wave Muscat, they're over! Oh, the bows are dug in, the crews are clinging on. Oh, crash, the mast has gone! Oh! At each of the 8 Extreme Sailing Series event locations, around 30 races are held. Each lasts between 10 and 15 minutes. Teams must count every single race result. It's 10 points for a race win, 9 points for second, and so on. The team with the highest score at the end of the event wins.
So indeed 10 points for the win, and it was 10 points that time to Roman Hagara and the team on Red Bull, bringing them up to 4th overall. We're rolling into the next race. The AP flag is down and there's no change to the course. Steve, conditions very similar. Some improvements needed on board 1 or 2 boats there.
Yes, certainly the choice of start really. They didn't have much time. Have to be fair on that. There's very little time to actually see how the wind is setting in. We've got rid of those ships. It's very, very fluky. Still very, very light wind here. So that makes quite a difficult set of choices for them. And as we said, it was a split. There were 4 one side, 4 the other, and well, one side had to pay off more, and it was in, as you say, the man that creates his own luck, and that was on board Alinghi.
So one team which I say they are on the podium last month in Singapore were SAP Extreme. Not such a good race for them then. They finished last, but we did speak earlier on today with Jez Graham-Hansen, the skipper of SAP Extreme.
Jez Graham-Hansen joins me here, skipper of SAP Extreme Sailing. Now, Jez, just explain to me, how's this event been going for you and the guys?
Yeah, I think so far we had a pretty good event here in Qingdao. It's been a little bit up and down. In general, I think we're still performing all right, and we're definitely in the position for a podium spot in this regatta here. So I think today's going to be very important. It's Saturday. It's going to be the big moving day, I reckon.
Now, you and the guys must be on a real high following the last event. Just remind us of how you got on there in Singapore.
Yeah, Singapore was our best event ever with a podium finish in 3rd place, and for sure we want to try and keep that up. It's still difficult. We still think we're learning, or we are still learning. I think the competition is very even this year. You see here that on the points that basically from 3rd to 8th position is more or less tied together. So we have to put in a strong day today.
And as you say, the team's still learning. Starting to put a few wins in the bag, though. You must be starting to think, hang on, we can probably get some wins here.
Yeah, I think definitely the feeling in the team are that we are getting, we're getting better at understanding the boat and the racing, and feel that we're sailing more consistently than last year. So it's a good feeling, and we're happy, and we're also more organized now with the whole setup. So that's important too, so we can focus more on the sailing.
It must be really helping you guys. You're thinking, well, it's not guaranteed. The number 1 spot is not guaranteed anymore. We can come out there, we can compete, and we can get on that podium.
For sure, for sure. it's good to see that you know that we can hang in and we can be on the podium. If we can do it once, we can do it again, and that's what we're working for.
It's clear you're a very popular team here on the series. Why do you think that is, that you're so much loved here at the Extreme Sailing Series?
Yeah, well, I don't know, but you know, we're trying to be open-minded and we're really enjoying having a good time. We have a fantastic support from SAP and from our other sponsors, and that makes things very enjoyable.
So at the end of the Singapore event there, you guys obviously got into the third position. You knew it by the end of that race, so there was some great reaction on board. You guys were so happy.
Yeah, that was a big relief for us to come in on the podium in Singapore. When we realized that we were on the podium, was just a big relief. You know, it's been a year on the circuit. That's our goal, you know, to get on the podium, and it was just a fantastic feeling for the whole team.
Well, yes, I can only wish you the best of luck today, and hopefully we'll get some sailing in.
Great, thank you very much. Cool.
Well, that's Jens Graham Hampson, the skipper of SAP Extreme Sailing. Some scenes of elation from Singapore. 8th place in that last race. They're in 5th overall and have 8 points to get up to the podium. We're inside 1 minute to the start of the next race. Steve, conditions still light, though the start is looking a little bit better organised. Alinghi lining up towards the pin end of the line along with Red Bull on that side.
And GAC Qingdao is the brave single port tacker coming in. And are they going to get across the line? Well, just bearing away a little bit, but a brave attempt by William Tiller, but Alinghi with nice boat speed at that pin end. And Mitch Booth at the other end of the line is also looking in a good position. Yeah. But Alinghi made a great start again.
Alinghi made a good start, but their angle up towards the first mark is not fantastic coming off the line. Certainly the bias, the favoured tack would be port if they can just get going. That's what was identified by Will Tiller and his team on GAC Qingdao. Mitch Booth is onto that as well, as our Team Korea. And I think once again there's a little bit more pressure on this right side of the track, looking upwind. But as you said, Alinghi got away nicely. SAP Extreme not too bad either, just behind them.
Yeah, so again, a bit of a choice by the tacticians on board here, looking up the track. Some are saying, well, let's go left, some are saying go right. Alinghi's definitely hanging on to that left-hand side of the course, really punching all the way to the side of the course here. Meanwhile, as you say, Mitch Booth on the other side of the race course with what looks like a little bit better pressure, a little bit more boat speed coming in on that far right-hand side as you look up the race course.
Meantime, Red Bull, the winners of that last race, a little bit in no man's land, neither left nor right now. Roman O'Gara and his crew having to bail out towards the right. And SAP Extreme just crossing ahead of Alinghi. Alinghi coming across in port with no rights, had to first of all duck behind SAP and are now going behind the Wave Muscat.
And there's no room as well between them and Real Team, so not such a good result for Alinghi at that start.
It's going to be interesting to see how far SAP go up this beat. And good pressure just now with the Wave Muscat in pursuit.
There they go, tacking in unison on that far left-hand side of the race course. Got to get the boat going really quick here because it's all about boat speed, because the boats are gradually going to be coming back together again as this race progresses, and coming in from a long way out on this very right-hand side. It's almost going out to the South Pole. It is Aberdeen on the sail, but it's Mitch Booth and the China team coming in.
Yeah, but nice work just now from SAP Extreme. Just as you said, that tack was a little bit slow into slightly lighter pressure, but they are accelerating okay just now. I'm liking the look of the Wave Muscat, and as you said, China team coming in and right directly in front of us. Beautiful pictures in this hazy late afternoon sunshine. We're at 20 to 6 in the evening. Alinghi taking sterns all the way across the track just now.
Yes, certainly showing the race rules in practice here. The boat with the wind on the right-hand side of it has right of way over the boat with the left-hand side, and Alinghi having to go astern of all of those boats coming across. Now, China team then, Mitch Booth coming in with the right-of-way over the Wave Muscat and SAP.
Yeah, nice work then from this very, very experienced cat sailor, Mitch Booth, and the young Chinese team holding their nerve. They have right-of-way. They're going to just squeeze across the front of SAP Extreme. SAP Extreme having to duck, and this is all good for the Wave Muscat. Also, that lane across from the left side of the track looking upwind has been good for them all the way across. They've rounded the front of SAP Extreme and will now just tack in front of the VIP area, and will go across with rights on starboard in towards the mark.
It's all reversed now for the China team, because they're on port tack with no right-of-way.
And I think a little bit less wind on that side.
So the Wave Muscat just tacks onto the favoured starboard tack for that green mark. China team just squeeze around SAP to hang on to second place, and just going into a very slow tack in front of the Wave Muscat. It's going to get quite busy at this mark, isn't it?
Indeed, but the Wave Muscat just have managed to squeeze up slightly high mode for them just as they get over the top of China team. China team being held up a little bit in turn by SAP. And a Lingy coming across behind them.
Again on port tack, having to go astern of their competitors.
Yeah, but they will just, I think, be okay on GAC Pindar.
But what about Team Korea?
I think they're having to duck their slice in that little gap between Team Korea and Red Bull. Meantime, it's looking good just now for the Wave Muscat, for Lee McMillan and his team on the defending champions, the winners overall in 2012, winners of the first regatta in Muscat back in January. We're 3 points behind going into today. And they have a Lingy with probably 4 boats at least behind them just now.
Team Korea next at the mark, but sailing around them on the outside. We're just hearing from the team on SAP with boat speed, but no room to get round the Korean boat.
The Lingy get round then.
Just sneak in front of GAC.
In I think 4th place. And there you go. Red Bull, the winners of the previous race, the first race here today, are presently lying in 8th place. Have a little bit of a slow tack. They're on board with a Lingy. As a Muscat, the Wave Muscat, Lee McMillan and his team just come away nicely from that top mark. A little bit of handbags, a little bit of action behind them. Team Korea luffing SAP, in turn luffing a Lingy. And that's all to their advantage as they accelerate away from the very close racing behind them.
Yeah, Team Korea just, as you say, luffing SAP, which are allowed to do under the race rules. We saw that in the last race. Bit more pressure on that left-hand side of the race course. Light breeze here, very light. We've had light conditions right throughout this event so far. We've seen the hulls fly, I think, once or twice.
That's right, Qingdao does have a little bit of a reputation for light winds, as was shown through the Olympic regatta here back in 2008. But in saying that, I think that some of the most spectacular action we've seen on the Extreme Sailing Series was a couple of years ago, when with 28, 29 knots at times, and I think we had 3 capsizes. But not that kind of conditions this evening.
On board a Lingy, you can see that Morgan Larson was having to flick the battens across because the wind's so light. The battens stay stuck in the shape, and the helmsman has to flick it to make them get the correct shape again.
So you'll see Morgan and the team maximum concentration, just trying to look for any little extra puff, any little vein of extra wind to give them a little bit of acceleration. They are just passing the end of the VIP pontoon as the Wave Muscat lead down to the final gate mark of this race.
Spreading out a little bit now. SAP go through that jibe. Gentle movements on the boat. Lingy also gone through the jibe, and they seem to have found a little bit more pressure. They're calling for Pindar to jibe. In fact, Pindar jibed in front of them. I don't think Morgan will be very terribly happy about that. But
yeah, he was very definitely asking them to cross, which it looked like they would do, but now they're jibed underneath them.
Umpire's quite close, having a look.
And the Wave leading then through the leeward gate, built up quite a comprehensive margin on Team Korea. SAP just coming into the gate, very straightforward rounding for them, as it was indeed for the Wave.
Team Korea round in second place, Andy, so still hanging on to that spot. SAP go around now.
Yep, the Lingy still pretty deep, and could see a change in fortunes at the top of the leaderboard perhaps after this race, but there's not much that the Wave can do about that. All they can do is focus on getting round the final mark and through the finish line, and wait and see what happens with their main rivals, Lingy. Interesting that Jez Graham Hansen was saying that this will be the day of change, the big ups and downs. That was very early in the day, obviously not knowing that we were going to be spending so much time waiting and presumably sailing fewer races today, but certainly Lingy have some work to do if they want to preserve their overall lead in this regatta.
They seem to be racing everyone on the race course at the moment, and having to duck all of the boats, virtually the entire fleet, on that first leg. Well, they're certainly down in fifth at the moment. Will Red Bull get to that mark before them? Lingy have right of way as they come into the mark. The real team get round in fourth place. Red Bull just going astern over Lingy, so Lingy up to fifth. That's not right, that's seventh in fact. So yes, as you say, the Wave Muscat must be looking down at this fleet with a bit of a smile on their face after that last race.
Indeed, as we understand it, if they win this race with a Lingy in the same position they're at just now, then the overall champions from last year would take the lead at this regatta.
Yes, it was actually a bit of a split as to who was last, whether it was a Lingy round the left-hand gate or whether it was Red Bull on the right-hand side.
So from a disappointing regatta for the Wave back in Singapore last month, now things are starting to click again. Certainly since the middle of yesterday, I think they've been particularly good and have managed to really start to apply the thumb screws on a Lingy who looked to be running away with the season. And I wonder whether the arrival of Will Howden on board has perhaps been a small catalyst to change.
Yes, Will Howden and Lee McMillan sailed here in 2008. Didn't get the gold medal, but won the medal race when the Olympics were here. A great lead now for them as they head towards the top green mark for the second and last time. Just the short leg to the finish line for them. But the race is still going on, just down a little bit from that. And again, China team came in from the right-hand side of the course. Team Korea still holding to second place.
That's right. Team Korea were 8th going into this race and going into today, and have certainly managed to make some improvements in the previous race and this one as well. Now lying second. The Olympic silver medalists from 2012, Peter Burling and Blair Tuke from New Zealand, started to get back into form here. Had a couple of penalties, I think, yesterday that were a little bit costly, but have sailed very cleanly so far today. As the Wave Muscat comes round the top mark, nice smooth set from the team.
Great lead they have in this second race of today. Barring any disaster, this win is in the bag, as it were. Team Korea just going into a slow tack, heading for that mark. So too China team have tacked onto starboard. That's right of way. However, possibly getting across in front of them on port tack will be SAP.
It's very close. Team Korea are just getting there with a matter of meters in it. So Lingi trying to get back into this race. They have 2 boats to weather of them, Real Team and Pindar. Just
5-point cushion for them at the moment at the top of the leaderboard for Lingi. How many boats will finish between them and the Wave Muscat? Lingi is going to tack fairly soon as they're running out of water there, right by the dock. There they go. Real Team also go through the tack. So do Pindar. Still, but getting quite light, very slow, but it's still all action on board, as you can imagine. SAP at the top mark, coming round in second place. Getting in front of Team Korea, moving up to second. Team Korea is third at the top mark. Looks like China team are going to make it around. Nope, they've been put about by GAC Pindar, who sneak round with rights of way on starboard, as at the finish.
So indeed, the Wave Muscat then come through the finish line, take the horn, and that I think is their 4th win of the regatta so far. So you'd have to say that Lee McMillan and his team, the mojo is very much back in form.
Lee McMillan is got great attention looking as what has happened in the rest of the race there, because he's counting back how many places there are between him and Morgan Larson at the top mark.
Indeed, as we speak, a slow rounding at the top mark from Lingi. Just a little bit of a lack of wind pressure at the mark just now and being blanketed by Real Team. Could still be close for second between Team Korea and SAP Extreme.
Yes. SAP goes through the jibe. They haven't got right of way here. The wind is on the left-hand side. Team Korea, though, is allowing them to get away with it as they go into the jibe to line up for the finish. So SAP coming through with second place.
And Team Korea losing that
yes,
second that they had. They may even lose out to GAC Pindar. GAC Pindar just challenging them, but SAP there go through the finish line
in second.
in second.
So Team Korea lost out big time there with the rules. They had, I think they jibed a little bit early and have got themselves tangled up with GAC Pindar. And as you say, could allow GAC Pindar to take third place from them.
GAC Pindar have the momentum just now, going slightly quicker. Team Korea still a little bit slow out of their manoeuvre, and GAC Pindar accelerate. Will Tiller brings the bow down towards the finish line, and GAC Pindar get it just ahead of Team Korea.
So that's 3 boats, 4 finishers. China team will come next.
And then there's a little bit of a tussle behind them with Alingi just sandwiched in between
this is for
Real Team and Red Bull.
This is for the lead here overall, isn't it, Andy? Because there's 3 boats finished already. China team finishing 4, that's 4 points the difference. So if Alingi finishes 5th here, they'll just hang on to the lead, won't they? It's going to be really tight here. Real team are going to come and get it. So Real team across in front of Alingi.
So I'm sure that Lee McMillan and his team are sitting there downwind and watching, straining their eyes in this late evening sunshine, just trying to pick up exactly where Alingi finish. But I think they should lead overall after this race.
So second from last for Alingi.
Yep.
So we'll just do a quick bit of mental arithmetics here, but we reckon that the Wave Muscat might have taken the overall lead. Very, very light breeze here, though, isn't it?
It is indeed, but that was a difficult race for Alingi off the start line. Got themselves into trouble fairly early on. Meantime, the Wave Muscat really had a strategy and stuck to it. Came off the line in good shape and good wind pressure, and managed to make that stick.
As we were saying, the Alingi had to duck virtually every boat. They came on port tack. All the other boats coming in on starboard meant that they had no rights of way, and they sailed a bit more distance than every other boat in this race course.
That's right, a little bit of a high-risk strategy from their position early on, and then there was no real way back once they were in the traffic. So the Wave Muscat then take the overall lead by 1 point ahead of Alingi. GAC Pindar then holding on to third place on 101 points, 7 points ahead of SAP Extreme Sailing Team. Red Bull 1 point behind, then Team Korea, China Team and Real Team all on 89 points. So all to play for all the way down through the table, from first down to 8th place. Here at Act 3 in Qingdao on the Extreme Sailing Series. Breeze is remaining pretty light. We're moving on into the evening really. It's just before 6 o'clock local time. And the duel continues between Alingi and the Wave Muscat, but it is Lee McMillan and his team who won the circuit last year, who have now taken the overall lead at this regatta. So time to regroup for Alingi. Morgan Larson will be debriefing his team, trying to improve the communication off the start line, be a little bit firmer on the strategy they want. So we had a chat with the GAC Pindar, lying 3rd overall. We spoke with them earlier on this morning, and with the skipper Will Tiller.
This team came about, we're sort of getting ready for the Youth Americas Cup, and we were just looking at ways to get involved in more multi-hours because we come from a keelboat sort of background, and yeah, we started forming a team. We sort of met Stu, and then from there we managed to, after sailing multi-hours for about a month, sort of managed to get the opportunity to get to sail GAC this year on the extreme sailing circuit, and this is a wonderful opportunity. It's massive for us building into the multi-hulls and just learning against such like top quality opposition. And yeah, so that's basically how we got in. We had about a week sailing Extreme 40 in Oman before the first event, and it is quite different. I think the larger multi-hulls probably, it's kind of, I suppose the similarities are just the teamwork that we get to use, because most match racing we're 5 up and just working together as a team and a unit.
Yeah, no, go! Go, 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 go!
It's a great place to learn, you know. You've always got to be 2 steps ahead of the next guy, you know. And then there's all the teamwork, you know. You've got heaps of teamwork in the match racing, which translates really well into these boats. You know, you can't get a person who sails one single-handed boat to jump in the class and communicate with the team very well, you know.
There's a lot of older boys out there, but they're still such quality competitors, and I mean, they haven't lost any of their edge, I wouldn't think. And as younger guys, I suppose, our inexperience can be like a strength and a weakness. Sometimes we probably don't know if we're doing it wrong, but we just give it a good crack and stick it in there, or push it hard, and we learn by mistakes. But yeah, I think it's always cool being the underdog and having a crack at the older boys.
Yeah, I like to say that they learn from us a little as well, you know. We do things that they think in the textbook, couldn't be done, and then you do it and it shouldn't work, but it does, so hopefully they learn a few things off us as well, but we're definitely learning off them the whole time, Yeah, the boat's been through it, but we haven't, so yeah. I heard they flipped it up in 2011 here.
It's something that I'm not sure if we will. It's probably something that will happen. I know we are young, but we'll see. It's just these boats are a handful as soon as you're over 15 knots, and considering we probably have only sailed in over 15 knots once, and these boats we will have a bit on, but we'll still be out there giving it a crack and
pushing it hard.
Pushing it hard as hard as we dare, and I suppose I know it'd be kind of fun to do it. It'd be something to experience. At least you can say you've done it and then get it over with, and then hopefully you know how to avoid it next time.
So the young guys on GAC Pindar, very laid back, typical Kiwis, very, very focused though, and they're lying in 3rd place overall. Steve, an impressive team making the transition from match racing into multi-hulls for the Youth America's Cup.
Yes, very much so, and a great transition they have to. It's really early days for them, so doing extremely well, and match racing and multi-hull sailing is very, very different.
So we're at 3 minutes to go. The course this time extremely simple. Start line, green mark, finish. So all on, maximum pressure, minimum number of turns, and this is the chance for Alinghi to get back at the Wave Muscat. The Wave Muscat leading by 1 point after that victory for them in that last race.
Crucial then to make a really good start here, because it's all going to be down on this windward leg. Once you get to the green mark, it's pretty much all over. It's GAC Pindar, the young girl there, that went for that brave port tack start. Didn't particularly pay off, but they did manage to get across to the right-hand side of the course where the breeze seemed to be stronger.
Indeed, breeze is, I would say, is a little bit patchier than we saw last time round. A little bit of traffic going up and down the course. 2 minutes to go. Certainly, if we look from our commentary position, Steve, that left side looks a little bit glassier than this right side.
Yes, it certainly
of the track looking upwind.
Yes, it certainly does. So there may be 1 or 2 more port tackers trying to get out to that right-hand side of the course as we look up it.
I would say that was a pretty brave strategy, but yes. Wonder what Morgan Larson and his team, the tactician, young Australian Stu Pollard, just I'm sure they have already decided what they want to do. Now it's a matter of execution. They've always tended to favour the pin, the left side of the track on the start line. That seems to be where they're lining up just now. Busier at the committee boat end. Roman Hagara and his team on Red Bull trying to protect their position about a third down from the committee boat. 1 minute to go, yes indeed. And by the looks of things, Lee McMillan and the team which just won that previous race, the overall leaders, looking towards the committee boat. We'll try and close out China team. Mitch Booth and his young crew just drifting slightly high off the ley line into the windward mark, into the start line. With about 30 seconds to go as the
Alingi goes into a very, very slow tack here. It's not particularly good to be going slow like this when it's such light wind and only 20 seconds to go before the start.
That's right, but it is a little bit of a matter of position. It looks like Real Team may try and get across on port. We have 11 seconds to go, 10. Real Team accelerating down on the left side, but having to take sterns just now. Like the position of Lee McMillan and his team just now, they've got space to leeward to drive off into, but GAC Pindar seem to have made the best start just now, coming off the left-hand end of the line. Alingi a little bit blanketed just now by SAP.
But the Real Team pushing on with their strategy of the port tack start, but heading out to the right-hand side of the course.
Just going round the back of Aberdeen. Sorry, Team China with Aberdeen on their sail. The invited team, each of these acts in the Extreme Sailing Series, we have a team which are invited to sail, and it's China team here who are just tacking onto port. GAC Pindar then lead off the start line with that nicely executed start off the left-hand end.
Dreadful position at the moment for Alingi.
Yeah, Alingi just blanketed just now behind SAP, but GAC Pindar coming across with a good lead just now. Slightly light on wind pressure, but they can see about 60-70 metres just in front of them. They get into better wind. Alingi then in trouble just now, relative to the overall leader of the regatta. They're a good 50-60 metres behind them and going very, very slow. The wave just now starting to build up some nice speed. Just crossed behind GAC Pindar, yeah, and they may even get up to Red Bull, and we'll
yes, Red Bull having to bear away to go astern, hard bear away to go astern of the Wave Muscat. Well,
the wave actually now have some good pressure. In the meantime, GAC Pindar have either hit a big knock in the breeze, a big header.
Looks like they're doing a penalty turn.
Yeah, indeed they are doing a penalty. So that's costly for them. They made such a good start, and that will be to the advantage of the Wave, who I feel are in good position up to weather of the fleet. They have Red Bull to leeward, and certainly well ahead of Alingi just now.
Well, they must have had sharp eyes on the Wave Muscat, because they saw the option of that wind on the left-hand side of the course, and it's actually paid off.
Just where they are just now, there always seems to be a little bit of a lift on port tack. Just breeze accelerates, I think, off the pier head to their left. China team are directly in front of us just now. This strategy that Mitch Booth and his team seem to like, coming right and then following the breakwater up, working for them just now, I think. But it is, or it should be, the Wave at Muscat which hold on to their lead, just slowed very, very slightly. Just now we can see China team coming into the picture from the left with good speed, converging all the time with the Wave Muscat.
Yes, it's going to be
China
close,
team on starboard, but the Wave will just get there. Team Korea nicely in the mix now as well, just on port, but they will tack in a few seconds. Just on the breakwater, there they go.
Team Korea complete their tack, so Red Bull will have to go through.
The Red Bull managed to get across.
They squeezed in front. Ooh. Just made it. Also just made it past the pontoon in front of the VIP area.
So the Wave Muscat strengthening their hand all the time just now. Very nice, smooth, clean sailing. And a very definitive strategy off the line. which they're managing to execute nicely. Slightly in contrast with Alinghi, who are deep once again. And on this very tight, compact race course, it couldn't be any more tight, any more compact really. There's only the one mark and then down to the finish. I think time is already running out on Alinghi.
Well, Lee McMillan didn't particularly favour the light breezes at Singapore, did he? Something's happened on that boat, because they're doing very well in these very light, fluky conditions.
I think it's as much restoring their confidence in their abilities. I think they were probably slightly spooked in Singapore, or certainly towards the end. But they've certainly sailed well today, looking like back-to-back wins.
Heading for the top mark for the last time, just round the green mark and straight to the finish. Going in behind them is going to be China team in second place. Mitch Booth claiming a place here. Up to second place for him.
So very, very close in the middle orders just now. Everybody having to employ maximum concentration, keeping a very close eye on any small changes in the fleet with their main opposition.
Lee McMillan having to stay out of trouble and stay clear of the boats coming up to this mark.
But they can see the finish line now from where they are. They're just going to make the should be one jibe and into the finish. They have China team coming away from the little bit of mark in second.
Bit of contretemps, I think, at the mark there between Team Korea and Red Bull. Red Bull tried to squeeze through. Not sure, but yeah, there's a whistle there for a penalty. I just managed to hear. And
let's see if we get a call from the umpires, but the SCP, I'm not sure SCP seem to come in late on the inside, but at the moment the Wave Muscat leading towards the finish line for a second back-to-back win here in Qingdao.
Alinghi squeezed through as well. It's the second time they've managed to find that room where there wasn't any, and pushing the real team out to windward of them. And GAC Pindar, which was looking very good earlier on, is last to get round.
Yeah, that penalty cost them on the first leg. And here we come with watching the Wave Muscat coming across the finish line now for their second win of the day. Excellent form then. Team China not too far away. Won 2 races. This is a good result for them. Second place just now. Mitch Booth, of course, the double Olympic medalist. He's been away from the Extreme Series for 3 years. This is his first regatta in 3 years, and indeed the China team just saluting their fans on the breakwater. Delighted with second, and Team Korea coming across for third. Alinghi look like they're going to pick up a 7th in this one. Team Korea then come across for their third. Good work then from the Olympic silver medalists, young Kiwi team.
Red Bull next from Hagara in the middle of the fleet. Then it's going to be SAP. As you say, it's a fight for last place here. So a bit of a disastrous afternoon for Morgan Larson. That second race was really didn't go his way at all. Squeezing around the end of the pontoon. SAP crosses the line, and Alinghi is going to get there next.
Alinghi get through the line, just ahead of Real Team and GAC Pindar. Then that could be expensive for them. They were a good third overall going into this race, and Actually, they're just holding on to that and no more. But with 6th place then, I think, for Alinghi, I think that's a good result then for the Wave. Muscat will extend their lead to 6 points, I think, on the overall standings. So Steve, good race for Lee McMillan, not so good for Alinghi. Alinghi really need to turn the corner and get things back on track.
Yeah, it's not too sure about their choice of position on the racecourse, choice of position as well at the start. And they certainly seem to get themselves out of phase with the rest of the fleet by having to duck virtually all of the boats.
I think that's more or less happened twice in a row, really, hasn't it? Whereas in contrast, Lee McMillan and the team on the Wave Muscat, very clear, defined, clear focus coming off the line. They had a defined strategy and they stuck with it, and it paid off on that very short course. Just the one mark and finish. So the standings after race 16, the Wave Muscat move 6 points clear of Alinghi. GAC Pindar in 3rd on 104 points, 4 points up on Red Bull Sailing Team, who are on the same points now as SAP Sailing Team. China Team on 98, Team Korea on 97, and Real Team on 93. So still plenty to play for in the middle of the fleet. Only 4 points between SAP and GAC Pindar, 3rd and 5th place. Meantime then, the Wave Muscat extending away a little bit from Alinghi. Breeze is still very light. Looks like we're rolling into another race, and as we were saying, this is a time that Alinghi have to dig deep, think about changing their tactics coming off the line. And the Wave Muscat now with clear daylight ahead of their opponents.
Yeah, very much.
So we're going to roll into the next race as far as we can see. Breeze is still fairly light. But what is the Extreme Series? Here's a quick caption of, or a quick roundup of what the series is all about. Scenes there of Lee McMillan and the team on the Wave Muscat finishing last season on a high, and they look like they may finish today on a high. They've had 2 wins in succession from the 2 races we've sailed so far in this early evening sunshine here in Qingdao in China, the Olympic sailing city. And Alinghi not quite so good. They've got to dig deep now. We're going to have one more race today, and the AP flag is just coming down very shortly.
Yeah, so
pretty reasonable day then for GAC Pindar. Not a good result there, but they're still lying in 3rd place overall. but very, very close. Only 4 points between 5th and 3rd, so the podium is very much in sight for 3 or 4 different teams, and some of the younger teams in particular who are just on the learning curve, as it were. So breeze is still fairly light. No major changes. Perhaps a little bit quieter in the high left, looking upwind, Steve. That was where Alingi got into a little bit of trouble last time. It does seem to come and go, the breeze on that side, doesn't it?
It does, yes. And well, it is quite close to the those big skyscrapers over there, and that kind of like lifts the wind. Any wind going that way is going to go upwards rather than perhaps along towards the beach.
And quite chilly now as the sun starts to move behind some of these big skyscrapers out to our left, looking out onto the track. And 1 or 2 little thermal changes, I'd imagine, down the streets and in the high-rise buildings that's our incredible backdrop here in Qingdao.
As you say, big effect to the wind heading that way. So yes, the race course out on the left. Very flat though, isn't it? And not particularly good to show off, perhaps, the best that these boats can do, is it?
Indeed it's not. But here's a very quick look at some of the more spectacular action that we've seen over recent years in the Extreme Sailing Series as we wait for this start.
Oh, this time they are over.
So a montage of some of the more spectacular moments over recent seasons on the Extreme Sailing Series Tour. Not quite as spectacular this evening, but it's very exacting stuff this late afternoon. Very light breezes as we move into the start of what we know will be the final race. Quick look at the start. The course, exactly the same as the previous race. Simple upwind, downwind to the finish. Just up to that green mark and then through the finish line, which, as we said, is right in front of our VIP area, and with a large number of local spectators out enjoying the action as we move into the final start of the day. And we're looking across the course area down to the start, which is just in front of these big high-rise buildings, and we're seeing that Alingi are back in their customary position just towards the pin end, the left side of the lineup, and something of a facsimile of the last occasion, or the last start, with Lee McMillan trying to protect that right side at the committee boat end of the line. So about less than a minute to go.
Yeah, 50 seconds to go, but Mitch Booth, unusually, normally elects to take that right-hand side of the course, is going on the far left-hand side.
Indeed, and maybe he's the one who's going to try the port tacker this time.
Keep a close eye on that boat on the right-hand side as you're looking at it.
And on the right, just behind the committee boat, is the regatta leaders, Lee McMillan and his team on the Wave Muscat, just protecting the committee boat end of the line. If he can get a nice gap opening there, he'd be a very, very happy man.
13 seconds to go.
Indeed, just into 10, and China team down on the pin end, winding up nicely with good time on distance. If they're okay, they should be good off the line. Seems like a clear start, and China team have got some nice acceleration, nice clear air. Yeah,
nicely timed, I thought there. Mitch Booth on that boat, and you know, a good start in clear air.
That's right. Alingi are in pretty reasonable shape. They're just slightly impeded just now by the real team, just ahead of them. But nice acceleration for China team off the line. On the right side of the pack, the windward side of the pack, we have GAC Pindar and the regatta leaders, the Wave Muscat. The Wave Muscat in pretty good shape for me just now. Just have a nice little puff of breeze just coming down to them. We'll see them accelerate very shortly, I think.
Roman Hagara is the first to tack. On to port tack. He's going to have to go astern of the overall leader.
This is the problem, that when you come across to try to get to this right side of the track where there's more pressure on the way up this leg, you're on port tack and have no rights.
Having to go right astern of GAC Pindar. And that's a lot of ground to lose, which is precious as you're coming upwind here. And Lingi's going to have to do the same thing.
Indeed, actually it's quite close with the Wave Muscat. The Wave Muscat just choosing this moment to tack in front of their main rivals for the regatta. An opportunity not to be missed.
Once again, Lingi's going astern of half of the fleet.
Yeah.
And that's more racecourse that they have to cover compared to the boats that aren't doing that. And in a way, I guess Lee McMillan here would tack there fairly early to just put what's called a loose cover on their main competitor, staying between them and the mark.
That's right, indeed. And China team taking a few sterns also coming across on port.
Team Korea looking quite good on the far right-hand side as you look at it, although we say it's the left because we look up the course, going to windward. Lots of weight down on the leeward side on Alingi.
Indeed, they have the Wave Muscat just to windward of them. The Wave Muscat have just managed to sail a slightly higher mode for the last few seconds and open up a little bit more leverage on their main rivals. And in fact, Lee McMillan and his team probably the fastest on the water in the middle of the course just now, probably alongside Real Team. Real Team also got a nice little puff. And the good thing for the Wave is they'll now tack onto starboard. They'll come right into the shore until they start to worry about running out of breeze. Then they're going to make their tack, and they should just come across on starboard. And we'll have rights on the fleet if they can just get their tack completed. Not quite going to get to Real Team.
But they're going to cause a bit of trouble, I think, for Mitch Booth. Will Mitch Booth get in front? He has got the boat pace here to just get in front of the Wave. He has managed to do it. So that's second place for China team. The Wave crossing. And it looks like SAP are going to get across in front of the Wave Muscat as well.
I'm sure for Lee McMillan just now, the main thing is to stay ahead of Alingi.
Big gust. As the dying breeze just has a little bit of a last fling here because the breeze is just picked up a little bit. The last time they're going to get to this mark. Remember, it's just round the green mark and down to the finish.
On that left side of our picture just now, a nice little lift there for the Wave Muscat. I think managing to almost get round the bows of the Real Team, but Real Team also getting pressure now and accelerating towards the mark.
Yeah, Real Team appealed for a penalty there because they had to bear away to miss SAP. Meanwhile, on that side, yes, there's going to be a little bit of trouble here for the Wave Muscat. Will they get round astern of Real Team?
The SAP coming in from the right, looking upwind with pace closer to the mark, just managing to tack round the inside of the fleet there. And this is going to be a good move from SAP. And just got a little puff there, and that took them in. Getting round the mark first is SAP Extreme Sailing. And GAC Pindar may manage to get through in second. little bit slow through the attack, just holding up the Wave Muscat. The Wave Muscat will go for an early hoist as soon as they can, get the Jenniker out and try and do an extra acceleration round GAC Pindar, who are a little bit slowed. So good rounding then, taking the opportunity for SAP Extreme. The Wave Muscat doing some good work. They have got their Jenniker set, have managed to sail around GAC Pindar. And our second now, China team in third, GAC Pindar in fourth, as SAP sail the final 150 metres or so down towards the finish line, being pursued by the Wave Muscat. I don't think the Wave Muscat have got the legs to catch them.
China team in third, GAC Pindar in fourth as they're coming down.
It's going to be very close, but little acceleration, a little burst of speed for the Wave Muscat, just closing a little distance on the leaders. The leaders, I think, just a little bit high on the line.
Once again,
they have to make a jibe there to get down to cross the finish.
Once again, Alinghi having all sorts of trouble at that top mark, and again fighting for the back end of the fleet rather than the front end. And Andy, that's not terribly good for Morgan Larson.
It's not, but it is good for SAP Extreme. They're just coming through the line for a win.
So first place for...
That will take them up to fourth place. The Wave Muscat will get second, so two first places and a second. A very, very good afternoon's work for the team on board the Wave Muscat. And it's going to be close between China team and GAC Pindar for fourth and third.
Lots of local support, isn't there, for the Chinese team?
Yeah, they're doing well. That's a third following their second in the last race. And lots of cheers, lots of waving from our supporters on the breakwater here. They're only a matter of about 30 or 40 metres away, and of course two of the crew members on board China team are from Qingdao and from the Shandong province, and learned their sailing here and moved through the sailing program here. So GAC Pindar get fourth, Team Korea in fifth, and once again,
and a penalty for Alinghi. They crossed in front of Real Team, and Real Team had the right of way. So look, Alinghi having to do a penalty turn on the last 100 yards of this race, and that is an embarrassment.
It's certainly not what you want going into the last day of racing here in Qingdao on the last race of the day. They have executed it quite nicely, quite smoothly, but they are going to cross the finish line in 8th place.
Too sure what that our helmsman there is talking about, but he's not going to be very happy. His last place for Morgan Larson. Going into this day, they were in front. They were the leaders by 3 points.
That's right. It's now going to be, I think, about 12 points of margin after this race. Very provisional, but that gives the team which have won the America's Cup twice, Alinghi.
Could be a little bit of damage on the back of the boat.
Indeed, yes, just a little nick out the hull on the back of Alinghi there. It's a little bit of work for the boat builders to get on with, but certainly not very happy on board Alinghi. Morgan Larson just shaking hands with his team.
I suspect there's going to be a bit more talk this evening, though, don't you?
I'm sure, but I mean, they're not very, very experienced team. You know, they know how to come back from this kind of situation. Say a little bit of a deficit now after these 3 races today, and the situation tricky for Alinghi, good for the Wave Muscat. Indeed, the Wave Muscat then on 132 points. Alinghi 12 points behind. GAC Pindar in third, just 1 point up on SAP Extreme Sailing Team, who won that last race today. China team on 106, Red Bull on 105, Team Korea on 103, and Real Team down on 97. So the podium very much in reach for some of these teams. So that's our story of the day, really. The Alinghi and the Wave Muscat. The Wave Muscat dominating really today with 2 seconds and a first place, and Alinghi just not managing to impose their authority the way they have over the course of the regatta so far, and as they did in Singapore. So join us again tomorrow in Qingdao for the final day of racing at the Extreme Sailing Series, Act 3. Everything to play for. We can promise you lots of action.